In the heart of the savannah, where the sun painted golden hues upon the tall grass, there lay a village called Kufuna. The people of Kufuna were known for their wisdom and strong sense of community, where every elder's word was a thread in the fabric of tradition. Among them was an old hunter named Jeno, who had spent his life tracking the great beasts of the land. He walked with the grace of a lion and the patience of a tortoise, his face lined with the stories of many seasons. Jeno lived at the edge of the village, near the river that never dried, and every evening children would gather around his fire, eager to hear tales of the past. But Jeno carried a burden in his heart, one that only the stars above knew. It was the story of the white lion, a tale that no villager had ever heard him tell. Years ago, when Jeno was still a young warrior, a drought unlike any before had gripped the land. The rivers receded, the soil cracked, and hunger sat at every doorstep. The elders pleaded with the spirits, offering prayers and sacrifices, but the sky remained empty of clouds. One evening, Jeno ventured deep into the wilderness, hoping to find a hidden spring or an untouched grove where game might linger. As he walked, the trees whispered in the wind, their dry leaves rustling like old bones. He followed the tracks of a gazelle, hoping they would lead him to water, but instead, they led him to something else, something that made his heart stop. Before him stood a lion, its coat as white as the morning mist, its eyes deep as the ocean's secrets. Jeno had heard the stories of the white lion, a sacred creature that appeared only in times of great need. It was said that those who saw it would be given a choice, one that determined the fate of their people. The lion did not attack, nor did it flee. Instead, it gazed at Jeno with an expression that felt almost human, as if it could see into his soul. Jeno gripped his spear, his instincts screaming to strike. But something in the lion's eyes held him still. It turned slowly and walked away, stopping only once to look back, as if inviting him to follow. He hesitated for only a moment before stepping forward, his feet moving of their own will. The lion led Jeno through the dry terrain, deeper than he had ever dared venture. Hours passed, and just as exhaustion threatened to overtake him, he saw it. A hidden valley, green and thriving, untouched by the drought. A river flowed through it, cool and clear, its banks lined with fruit-laden trees. Jeno fell to his knees, overwhelmed by what he had found. But when he turned to thank the lion, it was gone. The wind carried a soft whisper through the trees, a voice that seemed to say, "Return and share what you have been given." With newfound strength, he filled his gourd with water, marked the path in his mind, and hurried back to Kufuna. When Jeno returned, his people were on the brink of despair. He called for the elders and led them to the valley, where they wept with joy at the sight of the flowing water. The village moved to the sacred place, building their homes anew, and never again did they suffer such a drought. Jeno never saw the white lion again, but he felt its presence in the wind, in the rustling leaves, and in the eyes of every child born in the valley. As the years passed, he became the village's greatest elder, his name spoken with reverence. Yet he never told the tale of the white lion, for some stories were not meant to be given too easily. They were to be lived, to be discovered, just as he had once discovered the path to salvation. Now, as Jeno sat by the fire with the children of Kufuna gathered around him, he looked into their eager faces and smiled. One day, he knew, another seeker would walk the dry plains, searching for hope. And when the time came, the white lion would appear once more, offering its silent question. Would they follow? Would they listen? Jeno could only hope. He leaned forward and began another story, his voice carrying across the night like the wind through the tall grass, weaving lessons into words, ensuring that even if the lion was never seen again, its spirit would live on in the hearts of those who believed.